Next up, I'd like to ask Ilayda Samilgil, CEO of Llume, to the stage. Ilayda, please, and welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Ilayda. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Llume. And today we're just gonna get everyone up to speed on what we're building and how it came out of Cornell. But that said, let's start with the teams. So we have 10 engineers, including 4 PhDs, and then me and my co-founder. And there's my dog as well. He's not next to me right now, but you may still, unfortunately, hear him bark. But so we're an all engineering team, but we also have an advisory board to kind of fill in the gap of not having anyone with non-engineering experience, apart from my co-founder, who also happens to have an MBA. But our advisory board right now has experience in sports medicine, defense, wearables, startup operations, and finance. And we've been around for about 6 years and have received around $11 million through both non-dilutive funding and investors, which we'll go into details in the next few slides. But so what is this team working on and why? We're a platform technology, so that's something I wanted this presentation to be about, not necessarily the market we're in right now, but what this could look like in the long term. So we make stretchable fiber optic sensors, and these sensors can be fine-tuned to measure different things. So far, we've been focused on wearables and objects that humans interact with, all with the goal of human performance. Within that, our main focus right now is a chest strap and sports application, and more specifically, cycling. We do that because one of the gaps we've identified in that market is you can't measure metrics like VO2, ventilation, breathing pattern without needing a mask. And these are all important metrics that started gaining more and more traction with longevity, as well as post-pandemic breathing science and consumer demand. That said, we have other projects, so I kind of wanted to highlight those here as well. We also look into pressure mapping for our technologies, again, also in sports, but we're a dual use company, so we're trying to always find applications for our sensors in, let's say, sports, to also have an application in defense. But in the long term, as a platform technology, we expect to find use for our sensors in different markets, including robotics and manufacturing as well. That said, I mentioned light lace, but because of the order of the slides, didn't actually get to go into what it is and how we've been using it so far. So the red glowing sensor, that's light lace. It's our proprietary sensor technology. It's a soft and stretchable fiber optic sensor. The way it works is we shine light through one end and we measure the light intensity. Depending on whether it's stretched, bent, or pressed on, and where it is located on the body or on the object, we can calibrate our sensors to output different things. And they're all powered by the Llume pod, which you see in the middle. These are some of the example products in different readiness levels that we worked with over the past 6 years. So we have shirts that can look at things like wound detection, blast over pressure. We have objects for finger pressure mapping, and we have other wearables for muscle actuation. But as I mentioned on the prior slide, our current focus, our first product is a chest strap. We just call it the Llume strap, and that outputs real-time respiration rate, pattern, and VO2 and ventilation. So because that's our first product, I wanted to focus on that for the competition slide, but you'll see here there are a lot of wearables out there and they all use different sensors. Some of them use some sensors, but various sensors. These could be ECGs and be part of chest straps, smart watches, and you have wristbands, smart rings now, and then there are conductive threads. As you see, if you take a brief look at the slide, you'll see that none of the other sensors or other wearables have the precision we have. And that's because we use a fiber optic sensor technology that we chose to apply to biometrics. This is not a biometric monitoring sensor. It's a fiber optic, stretchable, strain pressure measurements. And we thought, why don't we put this on humans? Why don't we put this in objects? So that allows us to have both high precision, but also allows us to capture more than just one or two metrics. We can do biometrics, we can do biomechanics, but we can also capture events that are happening outside the body, such as blast over pressure or vibrations. That said, we are following a dual-use business model and a ladder-based strategy, so starting off with professional and special operators, following their influence to reach a broader market. And we would like to try a tier-based subscription model for the consumers, starting about $25 a month for the chest strap, but have the option to access raw data for bigger organizations. But for the DoD, we will be keeping it to one-time fee. This is just a very short roadmap of what the chest strap and some of our other products are going to look like in the next 2-3 years. So we recently did an external validation small study with Natick Army Base and released our beta chest strap, receiving feedback from users. But this year we actually want to launch it and start generating revenue. We were also awarded another contract with the Army, which will allow us to generate operational readiness, operationally relevant environment data. And with all that behind, next year we actually want to release our baseball, which is currently being tested by a Major League Baseball organization. And with the goal of combining all of these knowledge to bring our DoD wearable out to the market in 2028. So how does this all come together? Again, we've been around for about 6 years, and throughout those 6 years, we've received around 15 contracts. About 3 or 4 of them are active right now. That brought us to $9.5 million in non-dilutive funding, including various pitch competitions. But we've also raised private investment that's from both angel investors as well as strategic partners, organizations, and that brings us to a total of $11 million. We're hoping to make all this back soon, so our projections for next year is about $2.5 million, and the following year we're expecting about $7 million. Half of that will be through baseball, half through chest strap. And for baseball, we didn't go through the pricing because I didn't want to go through all of that when our main focus is chest strap. But that's going to have a different pricing strategy depending on the level of the organization that's purchasing it or whether it's a consumer buying it for themselves instead of, let's say, a team. And so our ask is we're considering raising up to $2 million and further focusing on our contract, one of our contracts with the Air Force, and getting it matched. That's for developing our combat shirt integration for our biometric sensing solution. This will also allow us to scale manufacturing to meet the demands for the cycling wearable, the chest strap. But to bring the chest strap to market, we've also identified 2 areas we need to focus on. One is further data collection so we can improve our algorithms and our accuracy. So we're looking to find organization groups, teams, or gyms that are interested in collecting data with us. This would just include a mask-based system alongside our wearable, and they would also receive an analysis for free of charge. And lastly, pilot opportunities. We are looking to launch our product in the next few months, but we'd like to also pilot with larger organizations, and they would get to also work directly with us and receive more information, more analysis than they would normally get on the app. And with that, I think that gets me to about 8 minutes. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I know there will be a link to sign up for Time to Talk, but there's also my email. You can always email me, and there's our website, which is not fully up to date, but it has all the relevant information. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ilayda. Thanks for staying on schedule. You do better than we have done so far. So, maybe one question if anyone wants to speak up, or otherwise, I think we have other material to share also for a short transition. I didn't see anything in the chat. Um, Maybe I guess if there's no question, I had one, Ilayda. So you mentioned the Air Force grant, and so this is a you need matching fund for this, and that's really what.
So yeah, so TBD, of course, with everything going on in the government right
Sure.
now, we don't know what it's going to look like. And we're talking to our partner. We have a contract that is set to expire soon, but there's still
Mhm.
work to be done. And if this program opens up, if we raise up to $2 million, there's a potential to get it matched up to 2 million. And we've done something like that last year for a different project, so we have some
Right.
experience in it. So 2 million would end up being 4 million in
Hmm.
the company. But again, the way I wanted to frame it as we're considering because we need to wait to see what happens with the program.
Of
If
course,
that
yeah.
opportunity is not there, we will probably still raise, but maybe a smaller amount or at a different timeline.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you. Yeah, I encourage everyone to connect with Ilayda offline.